Recording. Here we go. So, in addition, Julie is a licensed therapist specializing in trauma healing, relationships, and sex. And she lives in Arizona. She was at Yin on Fire, one of our presenters, and I'm pretty sure she'll be again. I hope that we can get her to come back.
Definitely.
So, I would love to turn the time over to Julie and also invite and remind anyone here, if you have a question, we want it. We want you to interact during the presentation. If you'll put it in the chat, I'll monitor that and listen for a break and bring it to her attention. But please, one of the greatest things we could do tonight as a soul family is to talk openly about sex, to leave shame at the door. It is not here. Anything, any past programming, this is your chance to ask questions, to communicate, to be seen and heard, and be safe in our presence. And we are holding that space for all of you. Thank you for being here tonight. Julie, go for it, girl.
Oh, Angel, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. It was making me emotional, just feeling witnessed and seen and valued for, the vulnerability of sharing my expression in the world. And that can be a vulnerable thing because of the way that our society is. So thank you so much for your kind words and for seeing me and for being who you are. And thank you everyone who showed up tonight. I'm just absolutely thrilled and honored to be able to talk about this topic with you and to share my own experiences, perspectives, insights, learnings, and to create a space, as Angel said, that's safe to talk about this, to really reverse the effects of how our culture and our society oftentimes really keeps it in the shadows. And so in the spirit of creating a safe space, I just want to maybe acknowledge that we all co-create this as a community. The energy that we bring, the reverence that we bring to it, the presence we bring when anybody is asking a question or sharing, we can actually give that that loving and accepting, non-judgmental energy to it. And so I just would make a request that you all help me in creating that tonight so that we can have a really enlightening conversation. And I welcome questions. So thank you, Angel, for tracking that. I want to reiterate that I really welcome questions in a corrective experiencing kind of way, the way that we weren't ever allowed to ask questions. At least I'll speak for myself. There are a lot of things that just felt like it was not okay to speak or to name or talk about. So with that being said, I want to have one more thing. I'd just like to acknowledge that this is a sensitive topic. It's a very vulnerable, very personal, beautiful topic. And there are many people that have had painful experiences around it, whether that is shame or maybe a really uncomfortable physical experience. And so if you have any moments where you're feeling triggered or you're feeling any kind of lack of safety, please take care of yourself. Please, reach out and ask for help if you need to after the call. I'd be happy to receive your message and support you in any way. But that's just one thing I want to say first and foremost is just please take care of yourself. And with that being said, I can maybe just start us off by acknowledging what we're going to be covering and what I'm hoping that you all can walk away with tonight. So I want to cover the what, the why, and the how of sacred sexuality, because it's, especially nowadays, it feels like it's kind of this like buzzword topic. And maybe even the word sacred gets used so much. I remember Angel, we were together at a retreat or something. We were laughing and laughing. She just would use sacred, like, oh, I took a sacred nap or sacred this. And it's fun to make fun of it, but it's also, a really beautiful thing. And so I want to define what it is. I want to define my own definition, my own experience of it, and maybe have that be an opportunity for you to bring your own definition to it of what does it mean for sex to be sacred to you. Super open to you disagreeing with me. I think that our differences are where we learn and can grow from. And then I want to talk about why is it relevant? Why is it important? What is the value of approaching sexuality as a spiritual practice, right? Or approaching it in a way that's sacred. The why, what's the purpose to that? And then information is great. Knowledge is great. Awareness is great. But I have found that my most potent corrective experience, my most potent learning and transformation has come from experiences and doing it differently. Just do the damn thing. And so I want to maybe lead you at the end, the third segment, through just a brief exercise to connect you in with yourself, connect you in with that essence that is your sexual essence, and just give you a little taste of what it feels like to approach it in a different way, or what I'll often refer to as an integrated way: mind, body, spirit. How do I experience my sexual essence or my sexual expression in a mind, body, spirit way? So, and then we'll open up to question and answers like every week and have a lovely discussion. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and just jump into the first. I think there was maybe one question before we get started with it. Did anybody have any questions before we jump into that?
I would love to just hear you talk for a bit, and then I will bring these questions up. I just,
Perfect.
let you present first. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Angel. Okay. So what is it? Sacred sexuality. For me, sacred sexuality is recognizing our sexual energy as part of our spiritual essence, right? My sexual essence is part of my spirit. It is part of my nature, the way that I am made up. In the same way that we approach other concepts in spirituality, like, well, I'm consciousness in a body, or, I'm energy and physical matter, and I'm mind and body or heart. So sexual essence or sexual energy is part of my spirit, part of my whole being. And embracing it as sacred sexuality is having an approach to it or a practice very much like meditation or yoga or these other types of spiritual hygiene, that we can find what are the avenues that help me to really embrace this as a spiritual practice. And when I say spiritual practice, I define that as a way to enhance or nourish my spiritual gifts and deepen my relationship with God, universe, or the spiritual realm. Right? Maybe that's my intuition. Maybe that's my higher self. Maybe that's source. Maybe that's nature. Maybe that's just my sense of connectedness to something bigger than me. However you define spirituality or you define what you're connecting to, it doesn't really matter, because you're going within yourself to connect to it. And whatever your truth is, you're going to find it there. So to me, that's how I recognize sexual energy as a spiritual essence of myself that can allow me to deepen my relationship with God, universe, spiritual realm. And as I mentioned, it's part of our nature. This part feels really profound to me because I was raised in a religion that was pretty strict conservative. I was raised LDS or Mormon, and the way that I experienced that culture, the way that I was raised in it, was very rigid around sexuality, and I felt it was very repressive of my sexual expression and development. I felt there was a lot of shame in how I was developing as a sexual being, and there wasn't a lot of safe places to talk about it other than like abstinence only. And so the narratives that I received culturally growing up and socially within my family and just all around me were that this is something that is sinful. It's a sinful part of your nature, or a carnal sin or natural man, and that's an enemy to God. So I was taught these principles that this aspect of my nature actually separates me from God. And the reason this is such a profound thing for me to talk about, why I'm so passionate to talk about it now, is that was a very painful experience, but I'm grateful for it now because it helped me to orient to truth. It helped me to recognize untruth, that perpetuated fear or shame or self-doubt or disconnection from myself. And it helped me come back to this piece that my sexual essence is a part of my divine nature. It is a spiritual component, like it's something I want to celebrate versus an inherent flaw or sin that I have to overcome, a cross that I have to bear, this vice that I have to, hold as a burden and constantly be at war with, when it's genuinely a part of my inherent beautiful nature. So that's a really core component of when I'm defining what is sacred sexuality. It's this identity piece, this reclamation of something precious to me, and unlearning all of the, I hope it's okay to swear in this community. Is it okay to swear in this community? Okay, that's my all the bullshit, right? Like just unlayer all the bullshit conditioning and narratives that were never true. And the reason that feels so significant, there's so many reasons that that's so significant, but when we can connect with and understand and embrace all aspects of our divine nature and reclaim all aspects of ourself, our true authentic self, and claim them as ours and accept them and love ourselves and embrace ourselves with unconditional love, bring love to those places, we increase our capacity to commune, to connect with the divine, to open ourselves to receive, to experience love, to live as love. And this is a huge component. That's like our sexual nature is a huge part of our identity, as a part of who we are and how we operate. So when we can really come to acceptance of it and learn how to have a positive relationship with it, I think it really does expand our capacity to experience God's love or godly love in our life. And with that, I want to mention that sexuality, especially in spiritual communities, it's often overlooked or bypassed or just avoided because it's uncomfortable. You know, as a trauma, relationship, and sexuality therapist, my favorite joke is to say that I make people uncomfortable for a living. And it's so true. But in the best way, right? Like, I really challenge and encourage people to go into those growth edges. So in spaces like Yin on Fire community, where we're all seeking truth and we're all trying to collectively heal, I want to be an advocate for, let's have this conversation. Let's acknowledge the dimension of healing, the dimension of wholeness and wellness and intimacy and love that is sexuality. And often it's avoided or overlooked because of the shame, the stigma, and the fear associated with it. These things run so deep. And I want to just acknowledge the purity culture that, you know, whether you were raised in the same religion as me, our society at large has a lot of purity culture influences. And so I think it's just a good opportunity to recognize what were the messages that we learned, what were the things that influenced our development or our identity as individuals. Sometimes they're maybe really positive or really protective factors. These things I learned that connected me myself, and I had a really healthy sexual development, and I'm so proud of that and excited about that. Awesome. I want to celebrate all of that. And I also want to just create space to acknowledge and challenge maybe the things that are still creating blockages or are still making it difficult to tap into that dimension of self. The other piece I want to mention around what this is and why it's important is that when we have purity culture influences, where sexuality is viewed as something that we have to control, something that we have to restrict, something that we have to kind of be at war with in the name of maintaining spiritual purity or spiritual worthiness, it can be this rebellion or a pendulum swing for a lot of people to go to the opposite extreme and they have like freedom and liberation, right? Like being really sexually expressive, and that's beautiful. However you define authentic expression for yourself is lovely. But what I've noticed, and I just want to name, it feels really profound to name this. I think that there's a pattern that there can almost be this aversion to viewing it as a spiritual practice because of that pain that and the shame that purity culture can cause. I think there's power in naming some of these things, some of the limitations that I've noticed in myself as I've gone through my own faith journey and my own exploration on this, is even reapproaching spirituality after feeling hurt by a religious dogma, right? Or whatever it is. So this is an opportunity to bring these things back together. Not just take the shame out of sexuality, but to create an opportunity to reclaim it as a spiritual expression. And then just a question here, if we're doing that, just to reflect, what if we consider our sexuality, our desires, our inspiration, our arousal, our pleasure as innocent, good, and valuable? How simple is that? So that's just something I want to maybe set as a goal at the end of this conversation, to maybe just start viewing it a little bit more like that. In relevance to what it is, it's a spiritual power, as I've mentioned. It's not just a part of our nature. It's not just a part of our spiritual essence. It's a power. And with power comes great responsibility. Some people heard that notorious quote. But, you know, I think it's important to recognize when something has power, it has the ability to cause harm or to heal. You know, it's about how we wield it. It's about our awareness level. And, you know, it can be consciously or unconsciously wielded based on our level of awareness. And I like to consider all different kinds of energy, you know, and I think it's safe to say in this community, we're pretty down with the woo woo stuff. We're down with the energy, and it's not even that woo woo anymore because science is like really starting to back it, which I'm like thrilled about. But consider all kinds of energy like breath work, you know, how transformative breath work and deep breathing can be. You can create like these altered states of consciousness just through like intensive breath work, but we're often taught to just like shallow breathe or hold our breath or do these certain, like we can unconsciously do these things, or we can really deepen our awareness and understanding of like how this can serve our bodies and serve our wellness and our expansion. Same thing with thoughts, words, emotions. Sexuality is no different than any of these things. It's just this whole dimension of consciousness that we get to explore. So I just think that's really fun. It's like this whole world. Um, and the more presence that we can bring to it, presence is like awareness, presence-centered awareness with intention, the more powerful we can become. When I bring awareness to my patterns that don't serve me because I was unconscious of them before, how empowering is that? You know, because then I have choice and I can consciously choose how to engage with it, how to transmute it, how to alchemize it. And so integrity and awareness and safety and heart-centered presence with intention can make all the difference when it comes to sexuality. If we're going to wield this power for our best and highest good, our best and highest expression and expansion. Another piece that is important, another component of this is there is wisdom in the body. I think that's just pretty clear, and especially in this community, there's wisdom in the body. And sexuality is this beautiful fusion of wisdom and spirit, the body and spirit kind of merging together and operating together. And the way that Angel described that I dance or that I move, it is so much more than a physical posture, right? There's energy motion, there's movement through that, there's emotion in that expression. I'm connecting with my sensation, I'm connecting with my body, I'm connecting with my emotions, and I'm allowing them to move through me. Sexuality is an expansion of that. It's so freaking cool. So I like to just acknowledge the wisdom of the body and the spirit through sexuality that is a pathway for healing, inspiration, and creation. If I follow that wisdom, if I tap into that wisdom and I give it permission to just be what it is, to just express as it intuitively wants to flow through me with presence, with intention, with all of these things I mentioned, there's healing intuitively, inherently that can be found in just tapping into that. Somatic release, chakra clearing, frequency shifting, cellular upgrading, vibration raising, energy healing, and manifesting. I love that. Last piece. No, there's going to be a lot of pieces. I'm just trying to cover the basics today, y'all. Intimacy, connection. I could talk for hours about just the beauty of being able to connect with self, connect with my own divine essence and nature and body and being and the truth of what that is in conjunction with the rest of nature, right? Like if I am part of nature and I am born of nature, like just marveling and witnessing as that in my sexual expression, like when I can just be with that energy and embody that energy and feel that energy, like there's an intimacy with myself. There's a love that I can express within myself, for myself, from myself, just me with me. And when I can do that, then that opens my capacity to connect with others or a lover and be vulnerable and let myself be seen and let my expression be felt and heard. And it opens my heart and my connection to the divine, God, source, nature, universe, right? Just interacting with it. It's about relationship. Everything in life is about relationship, relationship to self, relationship to other, and relationship to the beyond.
Let's go there. Can I interject with a little question about getting specific?
Yeah.
When you're talking about connecting to yourself, I feel like I know what we're talking about But if many of us, I came from a very disconnected to self place. And so when I first heard people saying, like, spend time with yourself, you got to connect to yourself, you need to be present, I was like, what? But when it comes to sexuality and sensuality, if I am living in a shame culture, or I'm in still in ignorance right now, Julie, and I was a client of yours,
Mhm.
what kind of an assignment would you give me to go home between our therapy sessions? What are the specifics when you're saying to connect to yourself and to help break some shame and ignorance down? Can you tell us specifically, for men and women, what are you telling us?
Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. It's a beautiful question. That's part of the how. It's an essential part of the how, right? How do we do this? How do we shift? And requires courage, so much courage to be vulnerable and to be willing to go into the unknown and to feel something different and to challenge these narratives and to feel. So many pieces of our healing, whether that's emotional healing, mental healing, inner child healing, sexual healing, it requires us to be willing to go and be courageous and to feel something different. And so it's very similar to a meditation exercise. Feel your feelings. And I would also add, what's your intention? Where can we start small? Can we just start to have a more loving relationship with your body? We don't even have to set these goals of you're gonna have this wild, passionate sexual experience or orgasm. Like, yeah, let's get there. But step one is let's just come into better lovership with our body, with our senses. And so if the invitation is a meditation and an interaction and experience to just feel, that's what I'm going to be guiding you all through today, is an opportunity to practice that, an opportunity to just bring presence here into your heart space where you find your intention. Is my intention to just love, to just be loving toward myself in this moment? What does love look like? How does it feel? How does it want to touch me? How does it want to move through me? What does love feel like? And then just feel it. And notice all the information, because it's not always going to be sunshine, rainbows, and daisies. Sometimes it'll be like, wow, that's really pleasurable. And other times we're going to encounter fear, or we're going to encounter uncomfortable emotions or contractions or resistance. And it's all beautiful because it's all information. Every single one of those is an opportunity for healing, to bring more compassion, to bring more curiosity, to bring more presence. And so we'll be going into the actual experience of that today. But that's where I would say to any client is just set up a space, set up a time to connect with yourself and with that intention, and just to create a new experience for yourself that feels safe and feels loving, and that it's okay to feel your feelings and to express your feelings however you need to.
I love that you're talking about feelings,
Yep.
because emotion, it is overlapping body sensations, pleasure and pain in the body, which
Yes.
also get experienced through sex, that the physical experience, but sex is also an emotional experience.
Yeah.
And so if many of you have ever dissociated during sex, that's a very common thing, which is where, for you to be there in your body, you have to leave and go somewhere else in your mind. This is a common thing.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that it was not healthy for my entire 14-year marriage.
Yeah.
I thought I could do my duty and I was being kind and never withhold it, but I had to be somewhere else because I wasn't connected to myself or to my partner from the night of our honeymoon.
Yeah.
So not once did I have connected sex. And so sex is physical, it's emotional. And if you are running away from emotions in your life and you're living with avoid, escape, numb, and distract, I
Yeah.
feel like this is why Julie's saying have some time with emotions. So what are some ways that bring emotions up and allow you to sit with them? Like creating this date for yourself. I'm hearing her say spend time with yourself. I just want to say, like, put it on a calendar as it's a date with myself. If you're so busy doing that you don't have time for yourself, put it in there. And during that time, like, one of the things is to feel your feelings. I find that music is something that will trigger emotion in me. So I will just play songs that are intensely moving and just allow myself to listen and be like, what is this bringing up in me? Oh my gosh, I just feel like crying, or I feel this some intensity, even anger or rage or whatever. And like, this is paramount. Some of you might be wondering, why are we talking about this? Like, I need to learn more about sex. And I just wanted to point out
Okay.
This was a doorway that opened for me. You can't just learn more about sex unless you can bring emotion into your life and be comfortable with emotion, because there are times, one of the biggest breakthroughs that I have now, I'm in a different relationship, is to be able to be comfortable with my emotions, and during intimacy to say, can we pause? There is an emotion coming up for me. And that is where couple connection has become so epic. Like, your partner gets to be a part of your processing, gets to know that pressure right there, or that experience brought up a past memory, or there's emotion in your body, because emotion's trapped all over in our bodies. And like
Yep.
a squeeze right here can bring up a memory of a time that your dad grabbed you by the shoulder and said, get in the car.
Yep.
And most of us can't even handle emotions. And so we're like, this is not the time or place. I don't know what's happening. And we go into that dissociate. I'll just dissociate. We'll just finish the act. It'll be done. And we never deal with it. But
Yep.
sex is a place that it brings it to the surface. And if love and presence is there, you can heal past trauma
Yes.
in ways that talk therapy doesn't touch, and reading books doesn't touch, because it's in the moment. It's a somatic release. I'm getting excited. I'm going to mute myself. Julie, back to you. I love that Sal's cheering me on, though. Thanks, Sal. Thanks for the
Oh,
go girl. She's got
I'm
her
so
pom
here
pom.
for it. Every time you want to speak, I'm so here for it. And like, I'm just like, yes, 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 because, and that's all what I wanted to get to as well. When I said somatic release and energy clearing and chakra, like the body keeps the score. And so even in yoga, when we go to these like hip opening types of yoga flows and experiences, they often refer to as the hips as the junk drawer of the body, where we store so much emotion and density. And it's not just for women, it's for men too. You know how much stress we carry and like the rigidity of our bodies and our posture and all of that. Like when we can open that up and create more of a channel for it to just flow through us and to express out of us, you'll notice that in hip opening yoga, you start to feel like you're gonna like feel really angry or feel like you need to cry, and you don't always understand why. You just have to be present with the emotion that's coming up. And I love what you said, Angel, when it comes to two body experience. One, this can be within myself. I can go to a yoga class and just be like, wow, I'm noticing what my body's feeling physically, somatically, right, and emotionally. And I'm just going to allow that emotion to come through, instead of being like, oh, I'm in a public space, I can't cry, I can't feel this, like I'll look weird. Just to allow that can be such a gift to yourself. And then when there's that intimate space, that sacred space in union with a partner, with a beloved, where you can slow down. If there's one thing I give to any couple, is slow the fuck down, please. Quite literally. Did you get it? uh, but it allows you to be more present to all that's happening. I don't know if you've ever had this experience. I'll try not to take too much time, but when I'm meditating or mindful, 1 minute can feel like 10 minutes easily. There's so much to pay attention to that we're so used to running at this fast pace that we miss it if we don't slow down. And so that level of attunement to myself, attunement to my partner and what's happening, we get to actually start to pick up on all the little micro frequencies. Not just the things of like when something's wrong, but like when something's really, really right. And the quality of that connection, the quality of that intimacy, the quality of that pleasure and bliss and like flow state that you can create and get into is otherworldly, quite literally. This can be a shamanic work. You can enter altered states of consciousness just by operating in this meditative way and in this free flow way, so that your channel's clear. Your body is your channel. Energy flows through here. It gets stuck in different chakras or different parts of your body, or it can flow out of you and through you. And that's why sex can be so healing in the same way you just described, Angel. So thank you so much for your share. That's beautiful. I also want to acknowledge, as far as the why does it matter, and we're of time, children learn through play. Okay. In their bodies and their imagination, their creativity and their expression. And like, they're so free to explore and to express their world, their inner world and their outer world. Like when they're uninhibited to just play, they're learning, they're developing cognitive, social, emotional, physical skills. They're learning to connect. They're processing stressful events in a very adaptive and integrative way. It's so healthy for their brain. And we're mentioning this because we all were once a child. We all have this inherently built into us. Sexuality is where adults play. It's this playground of opportunity where we get to alchemize our pain, where we get to do what Angel just said of like, hey, like this emotion's happening right now, but can I have this experience of you holding me in love, you holding me with patience and tenderness while I let that emotion go and experience the pleasure of release, the pleasure of relief, this contrast between pleasure and pain. It's not all just seeking more good things. It's like allowing the release of the stressful things and finding alchemy there. So sexuality is a realm where adults get to play and use our imagination, creativity to express various aspects of ourselves and our multidimensionality in really fun ways. And take a break from all the work. Like, oh man, it's a place that we also get to explore shadow work. How many of you are familiar with shadow work? Have you heard this term before? Okay. So in a similar way to any other form of healing or personal development, some of the most potent wisdom, the most potent power and freedom come from the places that we keep hidden or shy away from. Our kinks, our taboos, our hidden secret desires that we're ashamed of. Wherever there's shame, there's an opportunity there. That's a stone that we get to uncover and bring compassion, curiosity, love, and acceptance to. Right? We get to bring it out of the shadows and transmute it into light. And so the question that I have here is, can we face the fear and shame with courage, curiosity, and compassion to engage those parts of ourselves in a way that serves us instead of perpetuating stories that shame, condemn, or judge them with resistance or avoidance? I don't like that part of myself. That part of myself feels dirty, wrong, unlovable, unworthy. It scares me. I'm not sure about it. I don't understand it. We're often so afraid of things we don't understand. But if we can hold that curiosity, we can hold that witnessing, there's beautiful opportunities for just more self-understanding and love. And it also reduces harmful behavior. Because another part of this like sensitive topic is this rampant sexual violence that exists in the world. If we have more understanding, if we have more of this reducing shame, I think there's going to be less shadows that act out in shadowy ways. I think there's going to be more integrity. There's going to be more love, more compassion, more healing when we're not rejecting ourselves. There's more self-empowerment, just like any other shadowy behavior, right? If we reject and shame those parts of ourselves, we don't actually ever get to integrate them back into wholeness. And that's my definition of a shadow, is a part of myself that I've rejected, or a part of myself that I have dissociated from, that's kind of operating in this unconscious way.
I want to mention that on YouTube, there's something called the Shadow Effect documentary. I'm going to type it in here. It's not a movie. There's a movie with a name on it, but the Shadow Effect documentary on YouTube has Deepak Chopra and Debbie Ford and others. It's a 1 hour film, and I highly encourage you to watch it. As understanding what the shadow is, you'll be able to pull into what she's touching tonight on with sexuality. Anything that you've rejected about yourself, it doesn't get healed. It actually will come out in dysfunctional ways. So that documentary is fascinating. It points out many stories where people have been shamed around things, sexuality just being one example. They're so afraid of their own urges, desires, pleasures, that they'll hide it. And then it will be why they molest a child, why they rape a woman, why they're a voyeur and they get arrested for things. So it comes out in a dysfunctional way. And it just goes back to oftentimes when we're young or little, where somebody shamed us for innocent curiosity. You know, how many times it's happened in probably every family where an adult comes in and you're playing with your cousin and you're curious, and then all of a sudden everyone freaks out and there's punishments and you can't play with them anymore, and you don't even know what you've done wrong because you weren't trying to do anything wrong. And those imprints stay with us, and then just more and more get put on us. But the natural curiosity is in you, but now you feel like you're bad, you're
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
it's
And
not, you're broken.
even when it comes to like power dynamics, right? Where there's like power over somebody else, there's still a shadow there, because it's like, where is there the wound of insecurity that you feel like disempowered, where you feel powerless, right? Like, where are you compensating for through this behavior? There's still something there that's acting out in dysfunctional ways, right? Like it's all interconnected. And so sexuality, again, is powerful. It's so powerful. And when we can bring awareness to the places that are in shadow, when we can bring awareness to these places, it empowers us to wield it for light and healing and collective progress. So a few other things, just so that we have time for the exercise. I want to be very conscientious of time. We're talking already now about how this increases safety. You know, when you do that work within yourself, male, female, whatever your sexual orientation it is, just whoever you are, this increases safety when you do this work within yourself, when you learn to connect with yourself, love yourself, embrace yourself, have more awareness of yourself, and then you can co-create that in a beautiful shared experience. But when there's more intentionality, there's more awareness, there's more presence, there's more attunement to each other, sensitivity of each other. We can slow down for that. There's more consent because we're having more intentional conversations around that. If there's dissociation, it's hard to actually get true consent, and that damages safety. And when there isn't safety, it's difficult to make that a sacred space. Does that make sense? You can have an orgasm and you can have a physical sexual experience that some might define as successful, but if it's not safe, I don't define that as a successful sexual experience. That's a learning opportunity for sure. So I guess, you know, we can go into semantics about success, but I won't. It's just really looking at what is the value of this. When we practice this within ourselves and with each other, we can be embodied love for each other. We can have these collective experiences with dedicated presence and energy. And I also just want to point out that the last thing about just what this energy is in the context of the rest of our lives. Like we've already talked about its healing power and how it can really transmute wounds, but this is our life force energy. When we're in tune and in alignment and in flow with our life force energy, that is directly related to our joy, our creativity, our health, our sense of freedom, our sense of self-expression, our confidence, our vitality, and it ripple effects across the rest of all of the other dimensions of life. I'm going to show up so much more in my dharma and my purpose. I'm going to feel so much more inspired and attuned and aligned with my intuition. I'm going to have more synchronicity, more flow states when I'm in alignment with my life force energy, when I'm feeding it. And can my arousal and my turn on actually serve those other things? And it doesn't have to just be in this context of, well, now I have to do something, you know, physically or explicitly sexual with this. No. I get to just be turned on. I was turned on by this call, by this opportunity to share something I'm so passionate about. I am like here, I am on fire for this topic. I don't know if you can feel that from me, but like this feels like a calling. The pain that I experienced when I was sobbing after having my first sexual encounter with somebody because of so much shame that I felt, I am on fire to help every woman and every man not feel that. To tell them the truth of what this is, right? Like, and that turns me on. That's so fun to be like, ooh, juicy. I'm here for the healing, right?
Yes, I want to share a word that I love because turn on can be one of those things. It's like, oh no, I'm turned on. I can't be turned on. Now's not the place. I'm not with my partner. It's not in the privacy of a bedroom. What does that mean? And our publisher, Kiara Brenton, used the word activate once. She told me, like, she met somebody that, have you ever just met someone and clicked? You just have a same understanding or about life. They just have, they love, they kind of geek out on the same things you geek out on, and you're talking like, I just love connecting with that person. And she says, it's an activation. Like, I love that word. So try it on in place of being turned on to things like that activates me. That person activates me, because it's so taboo in our culture. You can't admit that you're turned on by someone, that your partner is now suddenly in scarcity. Oh my gosh, what does this mean for us? You know, this girl at work turns you on, or this or that turns you on. But when you use that term activating, you're really coming into a broader awareness of what she said. Sexual energy is life force energy. It's like the fuel that pumps through us. It's the mana, it's the prana, it's the chi, it's the energy of creativity. when you are in the creative zone, you're turned on, whatever your love is, whether it's dancing, music, art, writing, anything entrepreneurship. Like when you are just going, at something with so much energy, that is your sexual energy.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to throw that out there, that it's been so nice to be able to just be like, I use the word turned on now because I don't have shame, but I had to get baby steps, like
I like,
this activates me. This
yeah,
activates me. And yeah, there's so much more. Julie, I'm having a feeling we're gonna have you back. A, because
I
of our
know.
time out, and B, because I want to take this conversation further. There's so much. This is really kind of an answer to what I've been like wondering. How do we reach our community and how do we be most helpful? And I think we just need to keep talking about sex.
Yeah.
Anyone else feel that that's okay? Because there's so much to go
Hard.
into.
So I was like, what do I even cover? And what like it's so hard to condense it. So some pieces that I want to make sure to acknowledge. I appreciate your point about neutral language and how useful that can be. And in that topic, it's about our relationship with pleasure. Sometimes we have narratives and beliefs or limitations around like, is it even okay? Okay, right? Not just like good and beautiful and blissful. Like, is it okay to feel good and to want to feel good, right? Like, is my pleasure something that makes me sinful in nature or something, that makes me wrong or bad or dirty or shameful? And so, as a baby step with that exercise I mentioned about connecting with self and being present with self and tuning into the body, like what feels good? And can I allow that to be okay? Can I allow it to be okay to just feel good and give myself permission? That's one of my favorite phrases. Can I give myself permission? Can I give myself permission to feel, to make sound, to move, to be in my true nature? Can I give myself permission to just enjoy a chocolate covered strawberry or a really beautiful, vibrant salad? It doesn't have to always be indulgent, but I love chocolate covered strawberries, and it was just Valentine's Day. So, or touch, right? Or breath. Like, can I just enjoy pleasure for the sake of pleasure and redefine that narrative that I have around it? Because then I can allow myself to feel activated by life and by different things without feeling like it makes me wrong, dirty, shameful, and that it makes me a sexual predator or, whatever. Like, it's okay to just enjoy that activation. So, excuse me, for the sake of time, there is so much more. I don't want to end tonight without having an exercise, without having an experiential component. Can we do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I mentioned it before, but I'm going to review this again. When you do this on your own, today I'm going to give you a taster of this. We're going to set this up and have this experience, but I really want to challenge each of you to take this and make it your own. Customize it for you, because that's what we're here for. That's what this is all about, is to just be in service of you being into more alignment with your own lovership, just your own self. And so it's not just about inviting pleasure, but bringing awareness to any pain, blocks, or limitations. So as you go through this exercise and experience, remember that all information, or that there is no bad or good or right or wrong. It's just information. So this is a meditation, essentially. It's a movement meditation and interactive meditation, but that any experience you have is perfect. Okay? It's just all information. So if we can bring that neutrality to it, I think it can be very helpful. And our intention here, as we're looking into where do we start and where do we expand? We start here by just bringing awareness to things. And we expand by increasing our curiosity of what are my gas pedals and what are my brakes? If I have the e-brake on and I'm just trying to push the gas pedals, I'm just trying to turn myself on, but there's these significant brakes that I'm not aware of and that I don't know how to dismantle, we actually have to pay attention and train both. Where is there a need? Where do I need to bring some more compassion, some more love, some more healing to? And where can I invite more yumminess? So for today, I have a song picked out that I just want to maybe add some music, because as Angel said, it can be very inspiring of sensuality to just have a sensual input. That's part of my recipe. If I was going to say, here's a recipe for success, setting matters. Have limited distractions, have a peaceful setting where you're going to feel safe to just be vulnerable. Have an intention, have that courage and that willingness so that you feel safe to just kind of have an experience for yourself. Music, sensory awareness, and input. some type of input. I love soft, cozy, fuzzy blankets, like one of my favorite things, just for the sake of it, not even to go to some sexual explicit place, but to just be naked and writhing in a really soft, cozy blanket. It's one of my favorite things in the world. How does my body want to move and stretch and be with that sensation of fabric? Can I add music to that? What an enjoyable morning. Right? Like sun salutation, hello. Okay. Last thing that's really important here, just because you're going to have the formula for our exercise. Breath, super important. You go to yoga, you hold your breath. No, right? Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Breathe with your movement, in sync with your movements if you can. Let it flow. That's part of your expression. Sound. You want to stay muted or turn your, just make sound. Feel that vibration in your body. We are our own sound healing instruments. There's pleasure in that. There's release in that. There's like there's a reason why moaning is such a thing. And then emotion. Remember that we can't just go through the motions. Expression requires us to feel. Expression requires us to be in tune with that and to allow that. It's not about how it looks. It's all about how it feels. So in the name of safety, some people can have really intense edges around being witnessed and seen and on camera. And that's totally okay. If that is like not where you are, I want you to have the most potent experience you can right here. You can turn your camera off because this is about intimacy with yourself. I don't need to see it. I would love to see it. That would bring me joy to see you all expressing in your most beautiful, passionate selves. But turn your camera off so that you can genuinely just go inward. And then I would also say, close your eyes. If there are women that struggle or men, anybody who struggles with moving their bodies because they're worried about what it's going to look like, I find it's kind of like that concept of, if I can't see you, you can't see me. So I'm just going to close my eyes and move how I want to move and like forget that you're there, right? Like out of sight, out of mind. And it can help limit distraction so that you can really fully tune in. All right. Are we ready? So I'm going to guide you through with some, I'd say keep the sound on. I'm going to turn on this song. Make sure that this is paired. Oops. Okay. How is that? Can everybody hear it? Angel, you want to just give me like a sound check? Does it need to be louder?
So are you playing it on a Bluetooth speaker?
I am.
It would be better. Do you have a YouTube video with it? So Zoom does not transport sound music at all.
Okay.
It makes it real sketchy.
Can you help me with that?
Yes.
I can give you the song. I'll have to spell it for you. The song is Komorebi.
Hold up. Hold up. One more time. K-O-M.
K-O-M as in Mary, O-R-E-B-I. Komorebi. And then the artist is Felian, P-H-L-I-A-N.
Okay. All righty. Oh, just a second. Optimize for the video. What the heck? Okay, I hope this is better. Here we go.
How to get the most of Grammarly free.
It's Kayla on behalf of Grammarly to tell you all about the free version.
Can you hear it? It's starting.
Close your eyes down. Sitting and be aware of what we're feeling, starting with your just become aware of the sensation of your breath. Noticing how full it is, noticing the sensations of breathing out. Right, off. Notice if there's any clenching or tightness in the belly, and invite it to soften if it's needed.
Yeah. Oops.
Invite invite a deeper insight. No forcing, just invitation to invite a deeper inhale down into your belly. Feel your diaphragm expand. All the way up to your chest. Let it go. Slowly and completely. All the way out. Another one just like that. Nice deep inhale, slow inhale. Filling your belly, filling your chest, all the way up, and maybe full to the top. Just notice that sensation. Notice the sensation of fullness, oxygen. And then slowly exhale until it's completely empty. Noticing that sensation of emptiness at the bottom. Continue a breath pattern like this, or you can allow it to just return to a neutral, natural breath pattern. We're going to expand our awareness through the rest of our body. I mentioned that it's difficult to feel a sense of sacred space if there's no safety. When we are constantly exposed to stressful events or circumstances that require us to be tense, sometimes it can be useful to begin with the body and carry the weight. What do you carry? And we give it permission to soften and to send the body signals that it's safe. You don't have to be in stress response. Take our awareness to our shoulders. See if we can drop them down back toward the center of our spine. Maybe even trying out sensations of movement here. Some circles up and back. Demonstrated by I do through this. You can do really slow circles, or you can experiment with some contrast of really big, exaggerated movement. Sometimes that contrast of contraction and expansion can feel really nice. It can allow us to open and release some tension by just flexing the muscle, squeezing the muscle, and then softening it. Maybe try stretching your neck out a little bit more, side to side. Remember to breathe. Maybe experiment with your exhale. See if you can hear your breath as it leaves your body. Find some neck circles, head rolls that feel good to you. It can be big or small. You can go in one direction or the other. Listen to your body and let it tell you what feels pleasurable. Maybe start with some heart circles, adding in some nice big chest movements and openings. Angel, can you just restart the song so we can stay with this, please?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. See how much you can release through your breath. Notice any emotion. And just let that expression come through. Maybe swaying from side to side, letting your shoulder lead, and then the rest of your body follow. Just notice how much is available in our upper body and torso. We've only been focusing on the neck and the shoulders. And we add in the arms, and my favorite part, we add our hands. Keeping your eyes closed, bringing your awareness down your arms into your hands, and recognizing that your hands are an extension of your heart. You can actually infuse them with energy, with this intention of love, of presence. And let them wander, let them explore your body, maybe rubbing out your shoulders or your neck. Maybe just a nice pressure, firm pressure or gentle circles across your chest. What would feel like loving touch? What would feel like presence? What would bring more safety, more opening, more expansion? I'm going to be quiet now for a few minutes to just let you explore and let you feel. And I'll continue demonstrating. If you want to check in, if you get stuck or feel frozen or need suggestions, just kind of bring your awareness back to the sensations, even if it's stillness, breath, sensation, movement, expression. Invite each of you, if you haven't already, to experiment with some sound and ask your body what sound it wants to make right now, what sound it wants to express. Maybe it's a lighter breath. Feel the vibration. Take a moment to bring yourself back. Taking one more deep breath. Thanking yourself for the gift of saying yes to this experience. And just notice the stillness. Notice any shifts or sensations that are present right now. It's all information. Thank you for moving with me. Angel, I wonder if now is a moment that we can open up for just a few questions and then maybe break into some discussion groups.
Yes. First, will you tell me again so I can put in the chat the name of that song?
Yes. Komorebi, Komorebi, and the artist is Phelian. I think that's how you say it, Phelian.
Okay. Yep, we've got lots of questions to cover.
Beautiful.
Okay. There's a question, does it matter if you can't make sound? Does that hinder anything?
No.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I would say be curious about that, you know, which is why you're asking the question, but see what is available to you. See if you can just maybe notice more audible breaths. Right? Become aware of that, because there might be some blockages in your throat chakra. There might be some freezing or some frozenness, and that's okay to be exactly where you are. But I would invite you to maybe lean into that and see what is available to you, to just invite a little bit more expression or a little bit more expansion. And even if you're not in these moments, you know, if it's too much to pair with all of the sensory stuff that's going on, all the vulnerability that's going on, it might be just a good practice to use that as your mindfulness practice, as your meditation practice, to just start to hum. And notice different tones. It's called vocal toning. You can play with different tunes and just see what your body resonates with. See what tone feels most pleasurable to you and best to you, and just like let that be your sensuality exercise, with the intention of giving some love to your voice and being heard, and just welcoming that.
Wow, you hit that spot on. So for this specific request, the voice and being heard, that's directly tied to your soul, my friend. Your voice, and having been a singer and been so powerful in your voice at one time, I believe that that is very much, I'm feeling in this moment, that part of it through the questions you've been asking tonight, wanting to ask and discuss. That was beautiful and brilliant, Julie. And to begin with the breath and humming, and then move into toning or sounding as that opens up. And some of the other questions that I wanted to bring to your awareness, Julie, were, do you have work where, well, you do trauma work with people when there's physical pain for a woman, that intercourse causes physical pain, and knowing that there's psychological trauma from the past.
Yeah.
What kind of recommendations would you give to somebody who has had so much pain with intercourse that they and their spouse have not had sex in several years because of this pain, and they want to, but she doesn't know what to do about it? Do you have any experience in that area?
I do. And it's such a beautiful question. Thank you for your share and your vulnerability. And I just want to witness that. That's a very difficult place to be. And my first recommendation is to seek out a pelvic floor therapist, but I would emphasize maybe a conscious one. And when I say conscious, just somebody who's aware of what we've been talking about, that when you add sensation to certain pressure points in the body, especially in such a sensitive region as our womb space and our yonis or our vaginas, that pelvic floor carries so much emotion, so much memory and trauma, that being able to release emotion that comes with that, and having someone that has that skill set to be attuned, you know, not just the physical, you know, you can go to, I don't know if any of you have experienced, like you can go to get a massage, right? It's like, thank you, you worked out the knots. And then you can go to someone that can really be attuned to the energy and give you like an energetic massage with intentional, intuitive touch. And it's a totally different experience. If you haven't experienced that, I do recommend that just in general for any human to be able to receive in that way. But I think that that's very possible. I know that that's very possible with pelvic floor therapy, and there can be exercises you can do that can help bring you back into alignment with those muscles and what's going on, and to train them to relax if they're hyper engaging or maybe over functioning from any unsafe experiences that your body has gone through, or any experience that's taught it to maybe have to armor itself or guard itself, and that's why those muscles are tensing and clenching up. That is a practice that you can actually very, very mindfully and intentionally, with the safety of a practitioner, engage those muscles and try to rewire them. And you can reach out to me directly if you need help finding a practitioner. I'd be happy to help connect you. I'm not sure where you are geographically, but at least I can help you maybe do some research and find somebody.
Yes, before we go on, I don't want to forget about this. Julie, how is the best way that people can reach you or find the different things that you offer? I know that Julie has done retreats for women, and some of my clients, I've referred them to her, and they've gone to her retreats and said that it was life altering. So where would they best find you and connect with you?
So two ways right now. My website that's most active is vibrancerelationshiptherapy.com. And that's where you can find out more about my therapy offerings. And as far as coaching right now, that's mostly just one-on-one spaces, and I'm in the process of planning more group immersive retreat types of embodiment experiences that I absolutely love and adore. But that's going to be more of a mailing list, that so that once I get dates solidified and opportunities solidified, I can make sure that you're in the know. So I would email me directly at julie@vibrancecoaching.org.
Coaching.org.
And just reach out with any questions if you need any resources. Let me just make sure that.
Did I spell it right? Is vibrance like that?
Yep. vibrancerelationshiptherapy.com and vibrancecoaching. And then it's org, O-R-G.
Oh yeah, that would be org.
But yeah, any questions? And then just reach out to me and let me know your intentions. Hey, I'm interested in a retreat, or I'm interested in one-on-one coaching, or I just have more questions for what resources might work for me with where I am. Like I just want to be of service. So let me know how I can support you when you reach out. And then also, I just want to mention my book too. This is a great place to get started. This Sacred Sexuality Within and Between is available on Amazon. And this is so much of my personal journey of like the things that I've acquired and learned and accumulated through my faith transition, and how I redefined authentic spirituality after going through a really painful experience with religion. How I reclaimed my sexuality as a woman, redefined that within myself, my sexuality within me, and connection to the divine, and then sexuality between and sacred union with a lover, and some of the principles and practices that emotionally and physically you can help create those sacred spaces for this type of intimacy to come through. So that's what this book is really about, and I really strongly recommend it for anybody that's just wanting to know where to get started. But I'm located in Gilbert, Arizona, and I'm going to be offering in-person events right now. So for any of those that you are close or in this area, I do goddess yoga classes that I love so much. It's specifically for women. I might offer some co-ed spaces too, goddess and guru yoga, but right now it's for women to feel safe in their bodies and to feel safe with their expression. And it's a much more sensual approach to yoga. So it's a dance yoga fusion that's inspired by hula and belly dancing and these ancient movements that our bodies are designed to move in that way. And it's very community oriented. So I do that the second Friday of every month in Gilbert, Arizona. So you can reach out to me and ask for the details on that too. And then for those of you that are local here, I do free community events for women. I specialize in post-mortem women for the ones that I'm doing right now. Anybody that's struggling with a faith transition or crisis, that's wanting to delve more into spiritual healing or sexual healing. I do those once a month here locally in Gilbert, and it's free community service oriented. So if you're interested in that, again, you can just reach out and get the details for it. And for either of those offerings, if there's anybody that you know, if you're not locally in this area, but if you know somebody that would really benefit from this type of healing work, especially the goddess yoga classes, I can't, it's the single most transformative thing because it's embodiment. It's a new experience. It's actually me facilitating different playlists every time and guiding you through different movements to find your own expression. There's so much healing that happens. The hip opening I mentioned earlier in today's session, like so much emotion can come through, and it's a safe container to do that. So that is probably the most accessible thing. If you don't have it here, maybe try to find one in your local area, or the retreats where we get to deep dive into more than a 2-hour workshop. It's like an immersive full weekend away from all the day-to-day distractions to just focus on this.
Yeah. We have one question from the very beginning, Diana. I don't exactly know. I want to bring you on, Diana, at least unmute yourself and have you explain to me what you were asking in the beginning. The very last line I felt like was your real question. You know all this about connecting energetically, but you say you're also disconnected from this part of yourself.
Yeah, just turn so you can see me. So I feel like I'm disconnected from feeling like in my womb, or being okay with experiencing pleasure. Like Like I also have a hard time with sound. I've been practicing more like with breath and humming maybe, but like I want to just be like, yeah, and just feel it all and just like blast off or do this like full body orgasm, tantric like flow back and forth between me and my partner, but it's like numb almost.
Yeah. So when I hear that, not knowing context, not knowing your background or trauma history, it's making sense to me when you're saying that the sound and the expression, the verbal expression, is coming paired with these symptoms of feeling disconnected from your womb space. Our sacral chakra is associated with I feel, right? Our emotional landscape. And so if there are any dimensions of emotional expression that are difficult to express and difficult to release, it can create blockages in those parts of our body. It can create a disconnection from sensation when we have an energetic or emotional block. And so I just really get curious with you around just that concept of expression and focusing on the theme of making it safe to feel. So wherever there's a block or a numbness, curiosity and compassion, making it safe to feel, inviting it, not forcing it, not chasing it, but just creating a context where you can maybe invite more sensation to those to that part of your body. And in my women's retreat, something that I do with somatic release, and even in my goddess yoga classes, is to work with anger expression specifically, because that's usually one of the hardest ones for women to express, especially because it's been so culturally repressed that to be angry as a woman has been shamed and sometimes just doesn't feel safe. And so having a healthy expression of anger and boundary setting can be so liberating to open and reconnect to those kinds of sensations. Is there anything you would want to add to that, Angel?
No, that was a beautiful start. Thank you. Thank you for that. I've got lots of things going on here that I'm monitoring and replying to, and feeling like we are going to do some follow-ups on things. We're gonna have Julie come back if she will. I'll talk to her after about when. I've also been in messaging some other of our presenters. I call them the unicorns, to see if they would do an erotic blueprint quiz with us there. So I was looking up that link really quickly, and I'll put it here. If you haven't heard of the erotic blueprints, it's basically a personality style. Have you ever taken a personality quiz? Well, there is one for your sexual style. And just like, let me see if this works. That's a link. I want you to copy and save that. Just like when you read something about a personality style, it illuminates for you and for a partner, like, oh, this is why you think the way you think. Now I won't be so judgmental. We always want our partners to, or us expect, we have expectations that they'll be like us. And when they interpret and assume and perceive life in different ways, we're like, be more like us. Well, when I found this erotic blueprint thing through the unicorns, life altering, to find out that people have different ways that they connect sexually. Some people are very much into the senses and they love to have candles and scents and visuals. And that setting, the sensual setting and heightened senses really turns them on. And other people have different interests, like, they're very verbal, they like to be loud or to make sounds or to be talking during sex. And instead of shaming each other for the differences, when you realize, oh, this is my partner's blueprint and I can understand it because I've seen it laid out, you can incorporate things that do it for them and also not be embarrassed to say, this is mine. This is what I like. And there are little things that can feel so embarrassing if your partner's not aware of it or comfortable, and you're like, I really want you to just like squeeze me tight or like smack my bottom really hard, and they're like, that's just weird. That would be called kinky. Kinky is one of the things. So I'm going to do more of this. I really think this is important. I think that it really ties into our true selves. And the more that we can step into being our authentic selves in this world, the more joy we have, the more light we bring, the more gifts we bring into the world. And when that is shut down and shaming ourselves over our own innate sexual desires and pleasure, and we're shut down, we're just living as a small percentage of ourselves. It's dimming our light. So I am going to open up 3 breakout rooms, and I have Sal and David and I are going to host those, and you will each be able to join one. One of the things I want to ask those hosts to write down for me is to ask everybody to share what they would like to know more of, because we could go in so many different directions with this. But if you guys would gather questions from the audience, then I'm going to find presenters that can take us deeper into those. We have them in our Yin on Fire network. We have them right here on our team. And I'm just seeing this is a great opportunity for us to meet a need and to continue to be a safe place to talk about the most important things, and to support everyone in this group in being the fullest expression of their divine selves. And we are here to do that. So if you would give us your questions, we'll put this on the lineup for the next couple of weeks, and we will just make this a season of sex. We're coming into spring, like, let's go. It's the perfect time, right? Spring forward. So I want to thank you, Julie, and appreciate you so much. Thanks for putting your contact info out there that anyone that wants to reach out directly. And then I'm going to open these rooms, and we're past time. I'm going to acknowledge that. We normally go till 8:15. I don't have a problem staying on. So anyone who wants to stay on, please do. I hope that it shows that the room is open. And if you are new to joining a room, if you are on a phone and you tap your phone, a little box will show up in the top left that looks like Windows, 4 windows, and you tap that. If you're on a computer, jiggle the mouse, and it's down at the bottom menu. It says breakout rooms. And you just choose 1, 2, or 3.
And did you say, Angel, for the breakout rooms, is it just kind of reflection today, or
Yes.
did you mention that?
Yes, in the breakout rooms, I want them to share what they want to know more about. And then also you guys can have, you can go into deeper discussion in small groups. It gives more people a chance to talk. So Julie, you're welcome to join any of those rooms.
Awesome.
Does anyone need help getting into a room? Is anybody having a hard time? I can help you out.
Thank you for saying that. I cannot see it. I'm tapping the top of my phone. I'm usually on my computer.
Okay.
Oh, it's there now. It's there. Awesome.
Yeah, it shows up after a minute. I know it's hard.
Thanks.
I'm on a computer, and Diana, where did your name go? You must have found it. There's your face. Okay. Diana, which one do you want to go to? David, Sal, or Angel? I can put you in there. Almost everyone's found a room. Okay. How come I can't find, oh, there, your name.
I went into David's and it told me to choose a different breakout room.
Oh, that's weird. David might have accidentally dropped off because I only see 2 rooms now. That's weird. Or maybe it was full. Taylor moved to, I don't have an option for him anymore. I don't know why
Okay.
that is. But there's Sal or mine.
Well, I'll go into use.
Okay, I'll put you over there. And then Doctor. Did everybody make it? And then how do I get there? Close our rooms. And Angel. This is so weird. Okay.